Hello, welcome back to the Basketball Soapbox. I'm Daniel Daly. As we continue with our questions for each team in the NBA, we're still in the Eastern Conference, final team in the Atlantic Division. I think this is the most intriguing team in the Atlantic Division. Um, Looking at the Philadelphia 76ers and what they have done this offseason, added guys like Eric Gordon, Andre Drummond, who was there a couple years ago, Caleb Martin from the Miami Heat, seeing if they can recover his shooting as well. But the big ticket that they got was Paul George from the Los Angeles Clippers in free agency. And that was a big signing because you're just looking for Paul George to uh, be an improvement over Tobias Harris, who was hated in Philly. And just failed to live up to expectations and what people thought that he can be as he was progressing through his career. Ended up getting another bag from Detroit. But looking at this Philadelphia team and how they're shaped with Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid, um, this team is in prime position and they're putting themselves in a better position that they were last year, especially looking at what the health history of Paul George and Joel Embiid. They can rely on each other, right, to get through the NBA season. But looking at this, I'm going to be the question that I have for the Philadelphia 76ers is this their best chance to get through the Eastern Conference? Um, there's no drama of a Ben Simmons. There's no drama of a Doc Rivers as coach. There's no drama of trying to figure out what this team is, right? Tyrese Maxey took a huge jump last year, an impressive jump. Um, Basically kind of leading the charge there while Joel Embiid was injured and often injured and hurt and stuff like that. Um, Paul George coming into a situation where he doesn't have to be the go-to guy all the time, and especially he wasn't that with the Clippers. He was more the second guy, but now he can be the third guy and play off of Tyrese Maxey, who is just ascending in his career um, and building his career up as a scorer. And with Joel Embiid, who is MVP a couple of years ago and just being one of the dominant players in the league, and now with that said, it is alarming that he says he's probably not going to play back to backs. And it's like, how bad are those injuries for Joel Embiid, right? In terms of his legs and in staying in shape and looking at that aspect of it, because it's like you're saying stuff like that where you're not going to be playing. He said it looks like he's not going to be playing back to backs in his career. And it's like, no back to backs at all. So that's alarming to say that. And I know the NBA is trying to limit back to backs and stuff like that. So maybe he was leaning on those, like he can pocket that and use that as rest. He got his MVP. He has all NBAs. And maybe now it's just making sure that he's prepared for the postseason, which I can understand, especially in Philadelphia's case where Joel Embiid has had freak injuries. He got hit in the face one year, falling on the ground, knees, etc., stuff like that. Just weird injuries that he's gotten over the past couple of years. And that has always been the question since he's come in the league, especially being kind of redshirted his first couple of years in the league. Uh, and just looking at that from that standpoint, even with these injuries, this is probably his last chance with this team, a really good team that they have built. Daryl Morey has put this team together. This is probably his best chance, right? With Tyrese Maxey and Paul George. It wasn't Ben Simmons. It wasn't James Harden for people who were high on that. And I was just like, James Harden's going to flame out in the playoffs, right? You know that, right? It's going to happen, for better or for worse. But looking at this team, I know Paul George doesn't have the most spotless playoff performance, but now as a kind of a third guy in this team with Tyrese Maxey, he doesn't have to be the lead guy. He doesn't even have to be the second guy. There's going to be some nights where he is going to have to step up. But now the pressure is off him. He really just can play defense, be a second ball handler, um, and really just help Joel Embiid get easy buckets. One of the better catch and shoot guys in the league. So that's going to help. And an improvement of Tobias Harris. I don't want to say this is kind of like I'll say this. This is the watered down version of the Warriors going from Harrison Barnes to Kevin Durant, right? In terms of Harrison Barnes going to hit shit in the 2016 NBA Finals. Tobias Harris has not hit shit in Philly in the playoffs or a meaningful playoff game in a long time for the Philadelphia 76ers. If Paul George can come in and fill those shoes and be a better version of that and actually being able to knock down some shots, that will be very, very, very helpful for the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, Joel Embiid, it's all about health. Can that big guy stay healthy? Can he get through the regular season unscathed? And history will tell us no, right? Joel Embiid has not played a full season. Most guys don't, but he has not really played very much games. Especially, I know there was the year they were keeping him out so he wouldn't get hurt, and then eventually he still got hurt in the playoffs. So the Philadelphia 76ers are going to have to figure out how to navigate through the season and just get to the postseason and make sure Joel Embiid is 100%. And that they haven't been successfully able to do that um, for the past couple of years. Hopefully, this can be a way with the Paul George, with the Tyrese Maxey, the Andre Drummond as a backup that they brought in, Eric Gordon and stuff like that. Guys that can come in and help this team. Maybe, just maybe, they can get out the second round. Kind of similar to my next video, which you guys can check out on the channel as well. But this team hasn't been to a conference finals probably since Allen Iverson. And that's alarming, right? Another scathed franchise that has not been able to find its glory days, right? Because, you think about Philadelphia, you think about Dr. J, you think about Moses Malone, you think about Allen Iverson, and they have kind of just been snake bitten since that, right? And it's just tough for Philadelphia to advance. And they haven't been able to do that, and that's mainly due to the health of Joel Embiid. Factors with Ben Simmons, who's no longer on the team, and looking at what this team is right now with Tyrese Maxey, Paul George, and Joel Embiid, they have a chance, right? The Milwaukee Bucks are getting old, who I'll talk about later on. The Celtics, even though I think the Celtics are they have kicked the Philadelphia Sixers' ass every time. Again, thin up the front court, right? Like Joel Embiid can, if healthy, can be a problem for the Celtics front court. And we saw last year with the Knicks, was it last year or the year before? I can't remember. But we saw against the Knicks what they can do. Now they don't have the strength of Isaiah Hartenstein. It's going to be a formidable part of Mitchell Robinson and Karl Anthony Towns now. Joel Embiid shouldn't have an issue with that. So if Joel Embiid is healthy, he can kind of lead this team to the Eastern Conference Finals, finally getting out the second round. So that is what this team is looking for. That is what this franchise is looking for. And that's what Darren Moore has been trying to construct, especially when it looks like just the Celtics are going to repeat. You got to give yourselves a chance or some type of hope. Getting Paul George, was it a swing, a tremendous swing that hampers your salary cap, kind of put you in a bind to make other moves outside of that? Yes, we understand that. But it was a necessary risk, right? You couldn't go into another season just having Joel Embiid trot out there with no help. And especially after the James Harden, you kind of got to make it up to him. Because Daryl Moore rolled out the red carpet for James Harden, and it shit the bed. It didn't work at all. So for that to fall flat, Philadelphia is trying to reclaim themselves, trying to find something there. We got to see if the big fella can do it. This is his best chance. There's no more excuses for him. People might have been saying that for a while now, but there's really no excuses for him right now. This is a team that's playing well, that has a team together that can compete, and he has to figure out a way to get healthy, or this is just a dead cause, and Philly should blow it up at some point.